before we started the Hero's Journey, our kids were in a regular public school, and they had been doing pretty well, but you know, there's always that concern. You go from year to year, it's a different teacher every year, you never know who you're going to get or what's going to happen, and there were teachers that we had talked to that were better and teachers that weren't so good, and you know, we were also looking at a lot of the curriculum that was coming and had a lot of concerns about what are they going to be teaching, how are they going to be teaching, and you know, and some days they would even come home a little bit frustrated with the pace of the class, or you know, just different things that were going on.
When social distance learning started, having kids frustrated and angry that they had to do these massive assignments and things that they're just not interested in. I get that I have to read, I get that I have to learn history, but why can't I learn about the history that I want? And why am I reading a book at a third grade level when I know that I can read farther beyond this? Why do I have to read this book?
That was pretty concerning to us when it stopped seeing, it wasn't something they were enjoying, and it wasn't something that was pushing them to actually learn. It didn't feel like, it was just almost more like memorization for its own sake, and not very good. So it was recommended we read a book, Courage to Grow. And to be honest, I had never thought of a school environment that's set up in that way, and had never really considered before. But I read through the book, and I remember just getting excited by the thought of letting the kids kind of direct their own studies to an extent, and allowing them to go for it, which is, it's a little bit scary. But when you think about it, really when they find out what motivates them and what they enjoy to learn, they go so much faster. It's not just about the things that they're learning, but it's about how to learn and how to keep on learning. So, which is, I think it's more important. It's more important to, knowing something is great, but knowing how to find out about things is much more important, and growing as a person is more important ultimately than learning, because you can always, you know, there's always resources out there if you need to find out about this thing, whatever it is.
At PBA, they're learning the skills that are going to equip them to not just on paper get a job, but to keep that job once they have it, because they'll have the ability to withstand a critique, they'll have the ability to resolve conflict without someone else getting involved. Things that we didn't think would interest them, a game that they're playing during the current quest, our oldest comes home and is like, where's the computer, as soon as he gets electronic time at home, and he actually goes on and does more of it on his own time at home, and that's super exciting to see.
Having started the journey and watching them grow, and you know, sometimes it's difficult because sometimes they do stumble and have problems, but it's been good to watch that happen, because it's more of a process of how do we overcome that now, and that's going to serve them for their whole life, because they're not always going to have their parents. At some point they're going to have to make their own decisions and do things on their own, and learning how to deal with conflict now, learning how to deal with maybe a thing that they don't like happening, or learning how to deal with something within themselves. If they're starting to notice, I do this thing a lot that makes other people unhappy, and it's great to watch them go through that, even though that means sometimes they fall down, but they've got to learn how to get back up again. And I think it provides the environment that supports them to be able to do that, and that's going to serve them all their lives. That'll be, it's good to see them growing in that way, and academics are good and important, but growing as a person is just as important, if not more so.